What happens when a beloved morning television host faces down a guest who refuses to play by the rules? In just 37 seconds, one comment would turn a friendly chat into the most explosive exit daytime TV has ever witnessed. Lorraine Kelly had been doing this for decades. Her warm smile and genuine charm made celebrities feel at home. Audiences trusted her. She asked the tough questions, sure, but always with kindness, always with respect. That morning, though, something felt different from the moment her guest walked onto the set. Meghan arrived wearing dark sunglasses indoors. The studio lights were bright, but not that bright. Lorraine stood to greet her, extending a hand. Meghan glanced at it, then sat down without a word. The audience shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "Well, good morning," Lorraine said, her smile never wavering. "Thank you so much for joining us today. We're absolutely thrilled to have you here." Meghan adjusted her sunglasses. "Are you?" The question hung in the air. Lorraine laughed it off, a professional to her core. "Of course we are. Our viewers have been so excited to hear from you. Shall we get started?" "I suppose," Meghan said, examining her nails. Lorraine glanced at her notes, then back at her guest. "You've been in the public eye for quite some time now. How are you finding life these days?" "That's a boring question." The audience gasped. Lorraine's smile tightened just slightly, but she pressed on. "All right, what would you prefer to talk about?" "I'm here, aren't I?" "Isn't that enough?" Meghan leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. "You should be grateful I even showed up to this little show." Little show. The words cut through the studio like ice. Lorraine Kelly's morning program had been a staple of British television for years. Millions of people watched it. Millions of people loved it. And here sat someone dismissing it all with two casual words. "Well," Lorraine said carefully, "we certainly appreciate you taking the time. Let's talk about your recent projects then. You've been working on several initiatives." "Have I?" Meghan's tone dripped with condescension. "Tell me, Lorraine, do you actually research your guests, or do you just read whatever your staff puts on those little cards?" The producer in the control room frantically gestured at the camera operators. "Keep rolling. Keep filming." This was television gold, even if it was painful to watch. Y'all, Lorraine set down her notes. "I absolutely do my research. I've spent hours preparing for this conversation because I respect you and I respect our audience. They deserve a meaningful discussion." "Respect," Meghan repeated, laughing. "That's rich coming from someone who makes a living gossiping about people's private lives." "I don't gossip," Lorraine said firmly. "I conduct interviews. There's a difference." "Is there, though?" Meghan leaned forward. "You parade people out here, ask invasive questions, then act shocked when they don't want to answer. It's all a performance." Lorraine took a breath. "Stay calm. Stay professional. Every guest who comes on this show does so willingly, including you. If you didn't want to be here, you could have declined the invitation." "Maybe I should have," Meghan shot back. "This is beneath me anyway." The audience was dead silent now. Even the crew members had stopped moving. Everyone could feel it building, this tension that was about to snap. "Beneath you," Lorraine repeated slowly. "Can I ask what you mean by that?" "Oh, come on, look at this place." Meghan gestured around the studio dismissively. "Look at you. You're what, 60? 70? Still doing morning television like some desperate has been clinging to relevance?" That was it. That was the line. You could insult the show. You could be difficult. But attacking Lorraine personally, attacking her age, her career, everything she'd built over decades of hard work, the audience erupted in angry murmurs. Lorraine held up a hand, quieting them. When she spoke, her voice was steady, but there was steel underneath. "I'm 59, actually, and I love what I do. I get to talk to interesting people, share important stories, and connect with viewers who have welcomed me into their homes for years. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of this show." How sweet, Meghan said mockingly. The plucky little host defending her territory. You know what? Lorraine set her cards down on the table between them. I've interviewed thousands of people. Actors, musicians, politicians, activists, members of royal families. Some were nervous, some were guarded, some were promoting something. But every single one of them showed basic courtesy and respect. Not for me personally, necessarily, but for the opportunity, for the platform, for the audience watching at home. Oh, here we go. Meghan rolled her eyes behind her sunglasses. The lecture. No, not a lecture. An observation. Lorraine's tone remained calm, but direct. You walked in here with an attitude? Fine. You don't want to answer questions. Also fine. But insulting me, insulting this show, insulting the people who work incredibly hard behind those cameras? That's not fine. That's just rude. Meghan stood abruptly. I don't have to sit here and listen to this. Actually, you kind of do, Lorraine said. You agreed to a 30-minute interview. We're 12 minutes in. Then I'm breaking my agreement. Meghan ripped off her microphone, the wire snapping. This is ridiculous. You're ridiculous. This whole thing is a waste of my time. Then why did you come? Lorraine asked simply. The question seemed to catch Meghan off guard. She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again. Because my publicist said I should. Because apparently I need to maintain a public image. But I don't need this. I don't need you talking down to me like I'm some child who doesn't know better. I haven't talked down to you once, Lorraine said. I've asked you questions. You've refused to answer them respectfully. There's a difference. You're twisting this around, Meghan accused. Making me look like the bad guy when you've been passive-aggressive this entire time. Lorraine shook her head. I've been professional. If you interpret professionalism as passive aggression, that says more about you than it does about me. That did it. Meghan's face flushed red. How dare you? Do you know who I am? Do you know what I've been through? I know exactly who you are, Lorraine said quietly. And I know what you've been through because I did my research, remember? Which is why I'm so confused about why you're behaving this way. You've spoken about kindness, about compassion, about treating people with dignity. Where's that person now? You don't get to lecture me about my own values, Meghan snapped. I'm not lecturing you. I'm pointing out a contradiction. Lorraine stood now too, meeting her guest eye to eye. You can't demand respect while refusing to give it. I don't have to give respect to people who don't deserve it, Meghan said coldly. And what exactly have I done to not deserve it? Lorraine asked. I invited you onto my show. I prepared thoughtful questions. I greeted you warmly. I've been patient with your hostility. So please, tell me what I did wrong. Meghan's jaw clenched. You're just like all the rest of them. The media. Always trying to catch people out. Make them look bad. Create drama where there isn't any. There's plenty of drama right now, Lorraine observed, but I didn't create it. You did. The moment you walked in here with contempt instead of courtesy. I don't have contempt, Meghan protested, though her tone suggested otherwise. Really? Lorraine raised an eyebrow. You called this a little show. You called me a desperate has-been. You mocked my age and my career. You've been dismissive, rude, and insulting. If that's not contempt, what is it? It's honesty, Meghan declared. Something you media types wouldn't recognize. Lorraine actually laughed at that. A short, sharp sound. Honesty? You think being cruel is the same as being honest? That's not honesty, love. That's just being mean. Don't call me love, Meghan hissed. Don't you dare patronize me. It's a term of endearment, Lorraine said. I call everyone love. But if it bothers you, I'll stop. See? That's called respecting someone's boundaries. You might want to try it. The audience actually applauded at that. They'd been watching this unfold with mounting frustration, watching their beloved host being attacked by someone who clearly thought she was above it all. Meghan whirled on them. Oh, shut up, all of you. Sitting there judging me when you don't know anything about my life, about what I've dealt with. Hey, Lorraine's voice cut through sharp and clear. Don't talk to them like that. They're my audience. They're guests in this studio. You don't get to tell them to shut up. I'll say whatever I want, Meghan shot back. Not in my studio. You won't, Lorraine said firmly. You've been disrespectful to me. Fine. I can handle that. I'm a big girl. But you don't get to be disrespectful to them. They didn't do anything to you. They're sitting there with their smug little faces. Meghan gestured wildly at the crowd. They're sitting there watching you have a meltdown on live television, Lorraine corrected. Which I have to say is not a good look for someone who complains about media portrayal. This is unbelievable, Meghan turned back to Lorraine. You set me up. This whole thing was a setup. A setup? Lorraine looked genuinely confused. How exactly did I set you up? By asking you questions? By inviting you to have a conversation? That's literally what a talk show is. You knew I'd react this way, Meghan insisted. Actually, I didn't, Lorraine said honestly. I thought we'd have a nice chat. I thought you'd maybe open up a bit, share some insights, connect with people. I certainly didn't expect you to come in swinging. I'm defending myself, Meghan said. From what? Lorraine spread her hands. I haven't attacked you. I've barely gotten 3 questions out. You've spent this entire time attacking me. Because you're part of the problem, Meghan said. All of you in the media, acting like you're so innocent when you're the ones creating these narratives, spinning these stories, making people's lives miserable. I create narratives by letting people speak for themselves, Lorraine said, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. You're speaking for yourself. And what you're saying is that you think you're too good for this show, too good for these people, be too good for basic human decency. That's not what I'm saying, Meghan protested. Then what are you saying? Lorraine challenged. Because from where I'm standing, and from where everyone watching is standing, it looks like you came here specifically to cause a scene. I came here because I was told it would be good for my image, Meghan admitted, but clearly that was a mistake. Why would it be a mistake? Lorraine asked. If you'd just sat down and had a normal conversation, it would have been fine. Great, even. People would have gotten to see a different side of you. But instead, you chose this. I chose to stand up for myself, Meghan insisted. Against what, though? Lorraine pressed. What exactly was I doing that required you to stand up for yourself? Being polite? Asking questions? Trying to do my job? Meghan didn't have an answer for that. She stood there, fuming, her hands balled into fists. Look, Lorraine said, her tone softening slightly. I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know if you're having a bad day. If something happened before you got here. If there's something else bothering you. But whatever it is, taking it out on me and these people isn't fair. Life isn't fair, Meghan said bitterly. No, it's not, Lorraine agreed. But that doesn't mean we get to be unfair to others. We're supposed to be better than that. Easy for you to say, Meghan muttered. You don't know what it's like. What's like? Lorraine asked gently. This. All of this. The constant scrutiny. The judgment. Everyone having an opinion about every little thing you do. Actually, Lorraine said, I do know what that's like. I've been in the public eye for over 30 years. I've had my share of criticism, of nasty comments, of people picking apart everything from my appearance to my interview style. It comes with the territory. It's not the same, Meghan said. Maybe not exactly the same, Lorraine conceded, but similar enough that I understand the pressure, which is why I'm genuinely confused about why you'd come on a talk show and then be upset about being asked to talk. Your questions were stupid, Meghan said. My questions were standard, Lorraine replied. How are you? What are you working on? How's life treating you? Basic conversation starters. I hadn't even gotten to the real questions yet. What real questions? Meghan asked suspiciously. Questions about your work, your passions. What matters to you? Lorraine said. I wanted to have a meaningful conversation, but you shut that down before we even started. Because I knew where it was going, Meghan said. It always goes the same way. You act all friendly, then you slip in the knife. I've never done that to anyone, Lorraine said firmly. That's not who I am. If you don't believe me, ask any of the hundreds of people I've interviewed. They'll tell you the same thing. I'm fair, I'm kind, and I'm honest. Honest? Meghan scoffed. Right. Yes, honest, Lorraine repeated, which is why I'm being honest with you right now. This, she gestured between them. This isn't working. You clearly don't want to be here. You've made that abundantly clear. So maybe it's best if we just end this. You're kicking me off? Meghan looked shocked. I'm giving you an out, Lorraine corrected. You've spent the last 15 minutes telling me how beneath you this all is. So why stay? Why put yourself through something you clearly find so distasteful? Because that would make me look bad, Meghan admitted. As opposed to how you look right now? Lorraine asked pointedly. That hit home. Meghan's face fell slightly as the reality of the situation seemed to dawn on her. Listen, Lorraine said, we can end this now, shake hands, and part ways. Or we can try to salvage this and have an actual conversation. But if we're going to continue, I need you to drop the attitude. I need you to treat me, this show, and these people with respect. Can you do that? Meghan stood there, silent. The seconds ticked by. Everyone waited. Finally, she spoke. No. No, Lorraine repeated. No. I can't do that, Meghan said, because I don't respect this. I don't respect you sitting there acting all high and mighty when you're just another cog in the machine that chews people up and spits them out. Then we're done here, Lorraine said simply. Fine, Meghan snapped. Fine, Lorraine agreed. They stood facing each other, the tension thick enough to cut. You'll regret this, Meghan said. I doubt it, Lorraine replied. But you might. Is that a threat? Meghan demanded. It's an observation, Lorraine said calmly. You just had a very public meltdown on live television. That's going to follow you. Not because I'll make it follow you, but because it happened. Because people saw it. Let them, Meghan said defiantly. I don't care. I think you do, Lorraine said quietly. I think you care very much. Which is why you're so angry. But anger isn't going to fix anything. It's just going to make things worse. Stop psychoanalyzing me, Meghan snapped. I'm not, Lorraine said. I'm just trying to understand why someone would sabotage themselves like this. I'm not sabotaging anything, Meghan insisted. Really? Lorraine looked at her. Because from where I'm standing, that's exactly what you're doing. Meghan grabbed her bag from beside the chair. I'm leaving. Okay, Lorraine said. That's it? Just okay? Meghan seemed almost disappointed. What do you want me to say? Lorraine asked. Do you want me to beg you to stay? To apologize for something I didn't do? To take responsibility for your behavior? Because that's not going to happen. You're unbelievable, Meghan said. I'm consistent, Lorraine corrected. I've been the same person this entire time. You're the one who's been all over the place. I'm out of here, Meghan announced, turning toward the exit. Wait, Lorraine called out. Meghan turned back, a flicker of something. Hope, maybe, crossing her face. Your microphone, Lorraine said, pointing to the broken equipment Meghan had thrown on the floor. The studio will need to bill you for that. The hope vanished, replaced by pure fury. Are you serious right now? Completely, Lorraine said. That equipment costs money. You broke it. You pay for it. This is ridiculous, Meghan sputtered. No, what's ridiculous is a grown woman throwing a tantrum and destroying property because she couldn't handle a simple conversation, Lorraine said. But sure, blame me for pointing it out. Meghan opened her mouth, then closed it. She looked around the studio, at the cameras, at the crew, at the audience, all staring at her, and something seemed to break. You people, she said, her voice shaking, all of you, you have no idea what it's like to be constantly judged, constantly criticized, constantly under attack. You're right, Lorraine said softly. We don't know exactly what you've experienced, but coming here and attacking people who've done nothing to you, that's not the answer. Just leave me alone, Meghan said, and for the first time, she sounded less angry and more tired. You're free to go anytime, Lorraine reminded her gently. Meghan looked at her for a long moment. You think you're so much better than me, don't you? No, Lorraine said honestly. I just think I'm different than you. I handle things differently. That doesn't make me better. It just makes me different. Whatever, Meghan muttered, but the fight had gone out of her voice. She turned and walked toward the exit. The studio doors were just ahead. Freedom was just ahead. But she stopped, turned back one more time. I hope you're happy, she said to Lorraine. I'm not happy or unhappy, Lorraine replied. I'm just sorry it turned out this way. It didn't have to. Yes, it did, Meghan said. It always does. And with that, she pushed through the doors and was gone. The studio sat in stunned silence for a moment. Then Lorraine turned to the camera, to the viewers at home, and gave them that warm, genuine smile they'd loved for so many years. Well, she said, that was certainly unexpected. Shall we take a quick break? I think we all need one. The audience erupted in applause, not for the drama, not for the conflict, but for their host, for Lorraine, who had handled an impossible situation with grace, dignity, and unwavering professionalism. She'd been insulted, attacked, and disrespected, but she'd never stooped to that level. She'd remained herself throughout. As the show cut to commercial, crew members rushed over to check on Lorraine. She waved them off with a laugh. I'm fine, she assured them. Really, just another day in television. But it wasn't just another day. It was the day that showed everyone exactly who Lorraine Kelly was. Not just a host, but a professional. Not just a personality, but a person of integrity. In the control room, the producer was already fielding calls. The footage was gold. Absolute gold. But Lorraine had made it clear from the start of her career that she never exploited people, never used drama for ratings, never sacrificed dignity for views. Handle it sensitively, she'd instructed once the cameras stopped rolling. Yes, it happened. Yes, people saw it, but we don't need to sensationalize it. Just let it speak for itself. That was the difference. That was what separated someone like Lorraine from the rest. She understood that real power didn't come from tearing others down. It came from building yourself up, from being consistent, from treating people with kindness even when they didn't deserve it. Back in her dressing room, Lorraine looked at herself in the mirror. 59 years old, decades in television, thousands of interviews, and this one would probably be one of the most talked about. Not because of anything she did wrong, but because she'd done everything right. No, she'd stood her ground without being cruel. She'd defended herself without attacking. She'd maintained her dignity while refusing to accept disrespect. Someone knocked on the door. Lorraine, 5 minutes until we're back. Coming, she called out, touching up her makeup one last time. The show would go on. It always did. There were still stories to tell, people to talk to, connections to make. One difficult guest didn't change that. Nothing changed that. As she walked back onto the set, the audience gave her a standing ovation. She blushed, waving them down. Oh, stop it, she said, laughing. We've got a show to finish. And finish it they did. The rest of the hour went smoothly, filled with the warmth and genuine conversation that made Lorraine's show special. By the time they signed off, the earlier confrontation felt almost like a bad dream. Almost. Because everyone who watched knew they'd witnessed something significant. They'd seen what happened when entitlement met integrity, when rudeness met respect, When someone who thought they were above it all came face to face with someone who knew exactly who they were and refused to pretend otherwise. The cameras had captured every moment, every insult, every eye roll, every dismissive gesture. But they'd also captured something else. They'd captured grace under pressure, professionalism under attack, kindness in the face of cruelty. That's what people would remember. Not the drama itself, but how it was handled. Not the conflict, but the contrast. Lorraine Kelly had been doing this for decades because she was good at it, because she cared about it, because she respected her audience, her guests, and herself enough to never compromise her values. And on that morning, when tested in a way she'd rarely been tested before, she'd proven exactly why she'd earned every bit of success she'd achieved. Not by being perfect, but by being genuine, by being herself. And that, in the end, was worth more than any amount of drama, any viral moment, any temporary boost in ratings. That was real. That was lasting. That was legacy.